Good morning, everybody. I'm doing something a little bit different here on my YouTube channel, something I've never done before, is I am going to be painting up some furniture and figure miniatures that are part of the HeroQuest game set. Now, I wasn't going to bother with any of this kind of stuff, but I've seen some really good videos across YouTube, some really good guides from some people who know what they're doing. So I thought I'd give it a go, and over the Christmas period I had some Army Painter speed paints bought for me and some brushes and other bits and pieces, and I decided to test this out a couple of weeks ago with the treasure chests that you can see sat at the back. So they started out the same colour, or pretty much the same colour as these other items here. I think they're more of a maroon actually. And yeah, primed them, painted them with the Army Painter speed paints, and used a wash to dull them down a little bit. I wanted to get the vibe that they've been sat in a dark, dank dungeon for quite a while, and lo and behold, I was really surprised when they turned out to be as good as what they are. So I've been asked about the process. There's 101 videos out there you can watch, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. I'm not an expert. This is all first time for me. Those treasure chests were my first attempt, and I was stunned by how they turned out. So I'm going to edit this down eventually to a smaller, more palatable video. But let's see how we get on, and let's see how these items turn out. Now I'm going to do the same thing as I did a few weeks ago with the treasure chests. I've got this old box here that had some bits and pieces in it, and I put the items in there, and then basically put the box outside and then spray the primer. And it's nice because it kicks back on the back of the box really, and then gives it a bit of a retrospective dusting when it's on the way out again. So it's not too bad really. It worked really well with the treasure chests. So I'll get these primed up now. Right guys, so as I was saying earlier on, these are the ones that I did a couple of weeks ago. So I'll just move them off to the side, and these are the items that I've just primed. So they're now ready to go. And I'm not too precious about the priming because I don't want to lay it on too thick. Because I just think to myself, you know, I'm new at this. It doesn't have to be 100% perfect. I'm not going to get myself all obsessed over it, because I can obsess with a little bit of perfection at times. But again, they're not meant to look perfect, these furniture items. They're meant to look like they've been in a building or a cellar or a dungeon or whatever for a prolonged period of time. So the worn rustic look is kind of what we're going for. So guys, I'm just being a geek here because I do like shining an alternative light source on this kind of stuff. You can probably hear my cat having a fit in the background here. He's playing with a spring. So yeah, when this painting's been done, just to make things pop a little bit, it's nice to kind of shine a light source over them from different angles and see how they look. That treasure chest looks amazing to me. But those of you who have followed me on Twitch and seen my gaming before, you'll all know that I'm a bit of a geek when it comes to lighting and light sources. Now, just to be clear here, guys, this is stuff that's been bought for me for Christmas as well. None of this stuff has been sent to me because it's not that kind of YouTube channel where you know, I've been noticed enough to kind of get these things sent to try, sort of thing. So like I said, primarily I'm using the Army Painter speed paints. So I'm going to go with let me get that into screen. I'm going to go with dark wood for the wood effect, and then I'm going to go for Hoplite Gold for the trim on the edge of the table there. Just trying to work out if that let's have a look here underneath there. Yeah, that is wood. It's got grain, but I'm just wondering about this here. Is that a gold trim on the bottom? Looks like a little claw on the bottom of the table. Yeah, interesting. I have to have a think about that. Maybe the bolts are there as well through the side. An element of that could need a little gold dot on it maybe. I've got the glasses ready as well here, because they are a lot smaller than what they appear to be in the actual in the videos, these. So you can see there, tiny chair. As well as the speed paints, we've got TT Combat Black Wash. That's for the gold, the golden metallic finishes. I've got the matte varnish to pop on at the end, but right now it's going to be the white, Christ, what do you call it now? Dry brush, thank you, the white dry brush. Bloody hell. So it's got this basic palette here as well. Just kind of drop your paints in one of the wells there. The speed paints are really good because when they're dry, they kind of just peel out. But the TT Combat stuff, you just need to give that a little bit more of a scrub. Right, so I've dropped a couple of dabs of the white paint in here, and this is the dry brush, another Army Painter product. This, yeah, hobby dry brush it says on there. So if I just give that a little bit of a rooty toot, and then per guidance I've seen online, you've got to try and get as much of this paint off as possible. Basically, so there's hardly anything left on the brush. And I've learned, because when I did the treasure chests, I think my dry brushing was a bit too heavy. And what you'll want to be doing is, let's see if this works. Again, that could be a little bit too heavy there. But that's the initial bit, and I can spread it around anywhere. And what we're looking at here is just running back and forth. Maybe I should change this glove as well. I've got a bit of a blob on the end there. But again, that doesn't matter. See, it just gets absorbed in the mix. So you just want this. Sorry, just getting off camera there. You want this to kind of go on as light as possible. It's definitely lighter than what I were experiencing the other week, kind of thing, but you just slap it on there, and it's to highlight the highlights, if you will, the wood grain. Ultimately, there's no pattern in this bit here, so there's no real point in doing that at the edge. We're just running over the wood grain, but it's not meant to be absolutely perfect, this. You know, there's people out there who'll look at this video and think, Jesus Christ, it's, you know, it's a bit exciting, this. And maybe want to tell me how to do it, sort of thing. Just experimenting with my phone camera here as well, just to see if this is perhaps a way to do it, or whether I need to get the wife's Panasonic camera back out that I've used in times gone by for the couple of the watch videos that I've done in the past. It's a little bit more convenient with the phone. Yeah, it's brought the highlights up there. There's no two ways about that. Look at the wood grain. So it's had the desired effect. As to whether, you know, the TT Combat guys and the Army Painter guys will be, you know, if they stumble across my video, they'll be thinking, Jesus Christ, what's this fella doing here? You know, bad representation. But the whole point is, see, I've got a little bit too heavy there again, a little bit too heavy on the bottom, but bear it in mind. Sometimes it just doesn't feel like you've got enough. It's finding that balance. And the chests turned out absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to bother doing these bits here. See, I think there's what they call a mold line there as well. Now, some of the guys' videos I've seen, they take a tool to that and scrape it off. I'm not too bothered at this stage. It doesn't have to be perfect. So trying to paint these and keep an eye on my camera here. I've put 2 dots here, you see, but I'm aware that my hand's kind of getting in the way, maybe. Maybe I need to do this a little bit differently at some point, we'll see. Got 2 dots on my mat here to kind of show me where the middle bit is. See, I've been painting this for a little bit now and I've not touched that. And there's still bits coming off, just highlighting those highlights. And you need very, 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 very little here. It's almost like, I suppose, like the wife's foundation. You know, but the building merchants haven't dropped this off. If she sees this video, she'll kill me. So that's essentially dry brushing. So I'm going to do the rest of the items here now, and then we'll get back to the point where we're applying some paints. Oops. Not bad actually, not bad. Kind of surprising myself a little bit again here. Basic stuff this to a lot of people, but to me it's, like I say, I've never done it like this. So following these like online techniques and guides and it actually working is interesting. So that's the unit done now, and the chair as well, which is quite interesting. Like I said, probably a bit heavy-handed in some aspects again with some of this on the sides there in particular. Focus, you don't mind? Let's have a look. There you go. We'll do it manually. But I honestly, this detail here, you couldn't really see that until I put the dry brush on it. And I don't know if it's like a bit of an ivy that's on the side there, or a thorn bush or something, but that warrants maybe a little bit of green on there. So I'm thinking of doing the wood, of course, the wood colour, and then ultimately the seat, probably like I think I've got like a cardinal red or something like that. And then a bit of gold highlighting at the back there, and a bit of red on the back maybe. And then that side there, I might just try one of the greens in there when I get round to it. So this chair, with all intents and purposes, is probably a little bit more intricate than the other bits I've done. Because at the moment, I'm only really using two colours. I'm using the brown and I'm using the gold. And then a wash. Whereas this is going to probably be the first piece where I'd put a little bit more attention to detail on it. But we'll see how we get on. No doubt we'll bugger it all up at some point. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a step up. And my cat's looking at me through the window here, so I'm going to go and let him in. So back to the tables. I've had a closer look at this. Now this bit under here I think is all wood, apart from that bolt there. Same here. And then this bottom bit here, I think that's going to be like a metallic kind of thing, because it looks like a claw. So I don't know if it's carved out of wood, if it's all meant to be one wood piece, or whether it's gold. Now, what I did last time with the treasure chest was, I did the wood first and then I did the gold trim. And I had to just go back and do a little bit of tidying up, because what I'm thinking this time is, if I do the gold trim first, and then go to the lower sections here for the wood, I might just do it that way around and see how that works out for me this time. I don't know if there's a hard rule of how you're meant to do it, but the whole point of this is having a little bit of fun in the process of doing this. So we'll do that. I've actually decided to go with the brown first. Shaky there. Squeezing the bottle. I think what I might just do as well next time I do this is I might just position my camera on the other side. Oh, I've got my glasses here, guys, my God. Wife said to me, you know, why don't I get one of those rings, you know, with the light on it. And I said, well, let's just see if I get into this first. Before we start spending any more money on it, because I certainly want to do these HeroQuest items. I'm hoping that by the time I've done with the furniture, you know, once we move on to the characters, that I've got a little bit of a bit more confidence and a little bit more technique. Now, you know, again, I don't know how this looks to the experts, but to me, I'm quite happy with that. It looks pretty damn good, that. That looks like, with all intents and purposes, that looks like a miniature wooden table. And that's thanks to Army Painter Speed Paints, that. Because what happens here is, you're not having to force the paint job. As you apply the speed paints, they actually seep into the crevices of the grain. Obviously, it helps. The dry brushing that we've done helps that detail to pop a little bit more. But as you can see there now, between those two tables, there is a night and day difference. And just let me get the Sharky spotlight on it. Might be a bit intense, that, but it just gives you an idea. You know, and it's still drying there. Looks better when it dries, of course. Just has that bit of a glossy look for the minute. But yeah, to my eyes now, that is a night and day difference, that. And what have I done there? Just applied a little bit of speed paint from the Army Painters. Still getting used to how much I need to apply, but at the end of the day, the excess, as I say, runs off into the crevices. It doesn't matter that I've got it underneath there, because that'll do its thing, you see. And I found that when I added the matte varnish last week, that it really brought the items to life. That is insane. That, I'm telling you now, guys, that looks absolutely stunning to me. I'm blown away. I shouldn't be able to do stuff like that. I like it. I'm thinking about these claws again here. I don't know whether they are gold or whether they're all just wood. I'd imagine it all be carved out of one piece, but maybe some gold highlights on the nails there. They do look like claws, the feet. They do. Right, I'll just get on with this, and we'll see what it looks like in a minute. That's pretty much the wood slab that's pretty much drying now on here. Now, there's a couple of the guys who do this for a living on their channels have said that you've got to be careful for the coffee stain kind of effect on the table. I think that lends something to this, as it did with the treasure chests, like a worn look. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. You know, there's all kinds of stuff been spilt on these tables over the years, including probably blood and oil and stuff like that. But I've noticed underneath here as well, I started to paint that. Oops, hang on. Let's just get hold of that properly. I started to paint this brown and realised that I think that's a brace between these two edges here, holding them on basically to the table. I don't know. So I don't know whether to just go over that in brown. It's like a twofold thing. I don't know if it's a mould line actually. It's yeah, it's, hang on. Yeah, I'm going to go over that. It's got wood grain on it. It has got some wood grain on it, that. Yeah, and I am getting a little bit excited about picking out some of the detail on these things now. And I'm trying to avoid that, certainly until I get to the chair and start doing that. And when I were about those coffee stain effects, like I said, the bit that kind of made these things really come to life for me when I was doing the treasure chest was the adding the matte varnish at the end. It just did something to them, brought them to life and blended everything in. Oops, that's another thing. I'm quite shaky with my hands these days. Never used to be like that, but as I've got older, got a little bit shaky with my hands. So I have for the actual pieces, the figures, I have actually got a Citadel Paints holder. It was only £12 off Amazon, and that kind of holds the figures in place, kind of thing. You can get in a bit closer. You know, you could sit it down on here, say, for example, and then just get involved. But yeah, this table, you can see it now. It really comes to life, this now. It's really, is it focused that? There we go, a little bit more focus for you guys. It's really come to life, that. And the process of doing this is a lot slower when you're filming it. And I'm not mourning, it's just that the other week it took me 3 hours to do them chests because I was just taking my time with them. Could actually I'm super enthused at the moment because I've just discovered this over the past year or so. I had a friend at school 40 years ago who used to paint the lead figures, and I remember him inviting me to do it once. I just never got into it because I'd never been really an arty person as such, even though I'm lucky with my photography. But doing this, I never thought I'd be good at this. I just got all enthused through talking to people and watching videos and stuff like that. And this HeroQuest, the wife's quite keen on it as well to play it with me. Fortunately, the new version, you can download a free app, and that does all the DMing for you, basically. So you can you can play it on your own, or you can play it with, like I can team up with the wife, and the wife's quite keen to get into it, which really surprised me. Because when it comes to the games, which is my primary hobby, always been a gamer, she's never, well, she plays them, but she's never been into the RPGs unless you categorise Animal Crossing as an RPG. I'm going to let that tabletop dry before I start handling it to do the feet. So we'll crack on with this bit here now. And let me know in the comments, in the old YouTube comments, if you'd like me to bore your heads off doing some more of this in the future, because I am going to paint up all the items in the HeroQuest pack. Like I said, I think there's about 70 odd items, including characters. It'd be interesting to create a playlist on YouTube and see where we are now, and then see where we end up in 20 years' time when I've finished it off. Because I suppose I'm quite happy doing this on my own. I was quite content the other week over Christmas doing the treasure chest. Sat here in my own little world listening to the radio, watching things develop in front of my face, which I found was amazing. But yeah, if you want to see more of this, if you want to see me do pretty much everything, I'll not do it as a live stream. I find this a lot more relaxing because I'm not having to deal with a chat as well. And as many of you know, I've moved away from the live streaming on Twitch for the foreseeable. Just felt a bit burned out by it all, but I quite like what I'm doing here. Look at that. That's amazing, that. For me, again, like I say, that's amazing. If you want to know who's inspired me in doing some of this, I did a post on YouTube. You know, you can post a message, and I tagged those guys in there when I'd done the treasure chest. They'd be far too busy to be getting intimate with me in a chat like that, but you know, because they're managing their own channels. But I just wanted to thank them for the inspiration, basically. Sorry, a bit sniffly as well today. Yeah, but if you see what those guys are doing, who, like I say, the inspiration behind me picking up a brush and doing this, if you see what those guys are doing, absolutely incredible job. Yeah, I'm going to look at positioning the camera on the other side here so my hand's not in the way, because it's kind of like painting with the bloody cramp a bit here at the minute. To keep, I'm like this when I build my Lego, aren't I? When I've done the Lego live streams. I need some more paint in there, I think. So aside of the gold aspects now, the trim and the bolts, I have gone and, you'll run about those claws there at the bottom. I have gone with wood on those, to be honest with you. I thought I'm starting to bite off a bit more than I can chew, I think, here. But yeah, I can see there underneath it's a bit untidy, but that'll get tidied up, you see. When we put the hoplite gold in place there underneath, I can just cut those edges in and it'll be nice and tidy when it's done. And then what with the black wash and some of the matte varnish, will be in a good place. So what I'm going to do now is just kind of adopting the quartz batch painting technique. Done the brown on those tables now. I'm actually going to move on to the chair now because it's a little bit more delicate, and just do all the brown on that, and then I'll do all the brown on this kind of wardrobe unit as well, or mantelpiece, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to pick out the brown pieces on here now and start working through that. So that's essentially going to be the arms, sides there, the legs, possibly the front there. This will all be Sorry, this will all be wood carving. Might do that gold there. Do that gold on the back just to add a bit of something to it. May even do those tops gold, I don't know. Think so. And then we do the red here and the red on there as well. So we're talking brown, gold and red. So let's get on with a bit of this now. Let's have a see how it goes. Oh, we're on about the green down there. It's probably wood carved into it. Yeah, let's not again bite off more than we're willing to chew here. I find it very, very easily for me to get all the enthused. So I've just got to rein myself in sometimes. Just trying to keep this to the forefront there so you guys can see what's going on. Apologies if I keep drifting away a little bit. It's not intentional. Yeah, I probably need that ring light that we've talked about to help me out a little bit here. Let's put most of the paint down the back here. Still getting really used to applying this as well. It's, you know, you don't have to be 100% accurate, but the more accurate we are now, the less tidying up it is. And I'm trying to not go down onto the legs there because I just want to concentrate on one area at a time, do it in sections. Because I've got these +1 glasses on at the minute. I don't generally need them unless I'm watching something on my mobile phone. It's funny when you start doing this, you realise how all over the place that kind of, but then again, you know, it's not going to be all square, is it? I think it's been moulded in sections, so there's that aspect to it as well, which is fine. It just adds that kind of beat up, warped feel to it. Yeah, I'd be far better off with the camera on the other side, but I've not got the space for that at the minute. Believe it or not, I do actually paint underneath these items as well, because even though you're not seeing it when you're playing the game and stuff, I know what we've been up to, you see. I mean, those tables are drying really nice, the wood grain effect really coming through there. So I think I've done with the woodwork on this particular chair at the moment. Now it might look a little bit untidy, say, yeah, that focus sorted. There we go. A little bit untidy here, couple of drops on the seat. That's fine, that's fine, no problem, because we can hide that. We can fix that when we start painting in these other items, you see. So yeah, it's going to be like red on the seat, red on the arms, red on the back there, red on that bit there. Those two top bits, I'm going to do them in the Hoplite Gold. But yeah, it looks a bit haphazard, this seat, is in the way that it's kind of moulded as well. It looks a bit skewed. I like it. I like that it's not 100% square kind of thing. It looks like it's warped wood. And again, I don't know if it probably doesn't come across here on the video. I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to see when they get it up to YouTube later on. That of course I do the bottom bits, but I'm not as precious about the bottoms, the undersides of these items, unless it's the tables, of course. But I mean, the underneath of the chair, there's nothing there to bring out its detail wise or anything. So it just gets a flick over just to kind of, you know, complete it in my mind, really, so I know it's done. But yeah, I'm going to leave that to the side now, and then I'm going to crack on with doing the wood bits and pieces on this now after I've had a break. So what I'll do is I'll come back shortly and crack on with that. When I was talking about the reds, I've got a visceral red from TT Combat, and got a slaughter red from the Army Painters, and of course there is a bright red as well. So I'm assuming that slaughter red's going to be a little bit darker. There's nothing stops me putting a drop of that on the palette and painting it on the lid. I mean, I've seen guys out there who kind of prime these lids and then paint them so they know what the paint looks like. I might do that myself, but I think I'll go with the slaughter red initially just to see what it looks like. That isn't a speed paint. I know you can mix it or thin it down so it acts like a speed paint, but that is I've got that paint pure and simply because I want to add some blood effects to some of the characters. Maybe some red eyes here and there. They're not a speed paint. You just drip them on basic. Dip your brush in and then put spot on eyes and stuff like that. I know you've got to be careful, like when you're on the details and stuff like that, you know, when you're going around the edges like on that chair. But I love the way that these speed paints just apply. I know I could probably use a thicker brush here for this bit, but I'll just stick with it. It's as broad as long, as they say. Coverage is still the same. It only holds so much paint, I suppose. So give it a good doing over this. So in the set as well, there's like there's very tiny rats and artifacts and skulls. The skulls, you've got to clip them off a frame like the old model kits used to be. So you know, you could sit the skulls on top of here, I suppose. It looked real good once you've got the game board set up and everything. And again, you know, like I was saying with the tables earlier, look at that. Look at, I know it's drying, but straight away with the dry brush on there, it's seeping into the crevices and it's highlighting the wood grain. These sculptures are really, really nice. And like I said, they're tiny. You know, the figures are tiny. It's a shame I've not got like a pound coin, basically. Is this in inches? This grid here that we're on. Yes, I think we're on inches here, aren't we? So these are inch square basically. So if I get one of my treasure chests and put it back there, you know, they're small. They're like an inch across, but they're about 3/4 of an inch deep. You know, so you get an idea of how big they are. They're tiny, some of these items. The chair as well, the footprint of the chair. You're talking an inch square, if you're putting it onto those little squares. So this gives you an idea of how big these items are really, when you look at it like that. I hadn't thought of that, to be honest. So yeah, 3 inches across there, 2 inches up, you know. I'm gonna get this this back painted first. That's the easiest bit to do. I know you can thin them down as well. I've got a medium here, a speed paint medium, and some people say thin them down a little bit, but I don't want them to be too thin and running everywhere. They seem to be applying just right for me at the minute. You know, in my expansive knowledge opinion. That's the back. Still drying, of course, but looks good. And then what you'll get is you'll get that kind of effect now where it's drying off. You get that a little bit when you put the matte finish on, and then that settles, but it just makes it, it brings the item to life. Right, let's crack on. So I'm cracking on with this little storage unit here at the moment. Just being quite careful to kind of cut this in around the hinges. Because I'm going to highlight those gold. Do the same with the door handles as well. You know it's you know you're concentrating when the tongue's stuck out a little bit. So that'll get, and I've just like put some dots in there just to kind of colour in those bits, you know, behind the handle, if you will. Right, let's have a look at this. I don't know how much I'm going to need, so I'll do 3 drops. I don't need more than that. And we'll see how we get on. I love the way the wood grain looks. Anybody else who's done this, who's watching this now, knows what this is all about. And it looks really good when you're doing it. And like I said, you know, there's mistakes to be made, but those mistakes can be corrected, and it's a learning curve as well. Like this gold, for example, here. It'll look too bright when it goes on initially. It's like someone's been in and polished the furniture. But look at that. Can you see how the speed paint has gone into the recess? So you've got that contrast. Oops, let's have a look. There we go. Just notice there's a bit of a, on the edge there's a little bit that I've missed. Don't matter. It doesn't matter. Because I'm not looking at these under the microscope. So I'm just resting my hand against the edge of the table here, just to get under that bauble, if you will. Maybe I just need some better glasses, or the ring thing, whatever you want to call it. If anyone wants to recommend one of them to me that clamps to the table or something like that, then by all means, please do. I've seen them on Amazon, they're 10 a penny. I mean, the light from this, well, I didn't film it when I did the chests, but the light from this is really good from the camera, from the phone. Now that's superb. Focus. So they'll be dulled down because I'll put a black wash on them later on, like I did with the treasure chests. Let's see, can you see how the treasure chest looks dull compared to that? Maybe not massive a lot in it with the light, but you can tell, I can tell a difference. This gold is a lot brighter. So if you can hear me breathing as well, I'm a bit of a heavy breather. I know some people like that, but I'll shut up. Yeah. Yeah, we're in a, oops. We're in a good place here, I think. That light is actually making it look grey there, but it isn't. It's just the, I'm thinking I've missed that, but it's not. It's just how the light's reflecting off it. So it's tidied the edges up a little bit there as well. Oh, it's snowing. They're just on the radio. Though. I've got Radio 2 on in the background, saying that Snake Pass is closed near Glossop because of all the snow. Not a million miles away from there. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy. Look at this. So that's doing the finer detail as well, you see. Tell you what, looking at that through the camera as well, it looks really good. I've just been looking at an old wooden unit that I've got in the house. Kind of has that patchiness to it, you know, so that's fine. I think they call them the coffee stains, and some people want to avoid them, but I'm not too bothered about that with the flavour that I'm after. So again, look at this. You see, it's like a gold bracelet gleaming in the light. Now, do you see there? I've just gone slightly onto the table. Now, this is what I was doing with the treasure chest. And that was very, very, that's why I was wondering about doing these gold highlights first. But then it's vice versa, you know, I go on to this and then you cover it up with that. So all I'll do is I'll put a little bit of brown on my brush later on and just go up to the edge there, and it cuts it in, sort of style. And it makes this all look nice and tidy. And one of my friends at work who paints figures, albeit not for YouTube or anything like that. He's done it for years, and he was saying that he was quite excited by what I've done. The idea is though that you don't put yourself in a position where you're having to do a lot of touching up. See, just gone on that then. That's fine. There is a border along the bottom here. Sorry if I'm just off camera as well. Concentrating as usual. So you can see them bits there I'm covering up now, brown on the edge, where I'd come up on the side there. They've disappeared now and got absorbed by this paint, or covered. Whoops, flicking things around here. That's the beauty of the speed paints again. So yeah, I'm doing the Lego stream, taking the item off the camera while I'm concentrating. Just need to kind of rest that down there while I do this. Christ, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with how I've just cut that in there without going onto the wood. Just on the wood a little bit there on that side, but not really on this side, just a tiny bit to flick in there. It's great. So the wash is really easy to apply because you just go in. It doesn't matter if you go back onto your other bits with that. The wash is to dull down that gold effect slightly. Just trying to make sure I stay on my mark there on the mat. See, and as I cut that in then, around that bit there, it wiped away that brown from earlier on. It's brilliant how it does that. It's not like I'm covering it and I can see a dark mark underneath. What I'll do is I'll just fill these bigger bits in here and then I'll do the bigger bits on the other side, on the other table, sorry. Yeah. It's fiddly handling them though sometimes because I don't want to take off what I've already done kind of thing. I can see like a knot in the wood there. Very cool. So the chair at the moment is, I don't need to touch that up where I've applied the gold. But these items here now, I'm just going to do a little bit of fine touching up. This has gone really nice. Overall, just a couple of bits under there, above that latch there, a couple of other bits and pieces, but overall I'm very happy with it. And I love it how the different, I've got those different dark and light pieces, adding different, like a unique feel to the wood. Same there at the top of that there, where it's a bit thicker than other areas. And again, the matte varnish does something, which is, it just makes things look really nice. So really now with these tables, it's just cutting in these edges a little bit, tidying them up, and just on the underneath the same as well, but pretty much a couple of bits on the edges here. Let's get that focus sorted. You see like there and there, but aside of that, I just need to be very careful that I don't go back onto the gold now. It's just a case of little bits of tidying up on things you'd probably never pick up on, but I know it's there myself, you see, so I like to tidy it up. And it'll just dry away. It'll just absorb it and sort itself out. So when I'm finding these speed paints very, see it's a bit there, some out. That's why I'm finding these speed paints very accommodating. Must be because of the reactivation in them. They just mix into each other, and because it's only a very small amount, it's nothing to get overly excited about. It's not like it's going to change it into a different colour or anything like that, really. Been at this a few hours now. At 1 o'clock here at the moment, so I started it about 9:30, and I've had a break and just took my time. It's taken a lot longer because I'm recording it. Did I just catch that on there then? That's fine, I can sort that out. Pillock. I did. I've got another brush, but I'll just use this one later on. Well, that's just drying off. I'll just do a bit on the underneath of this one. There you go. That's got quite a bit underneath that needs attention. And a little bit on the edges. That's pretty much done on the edges there now. Maybe, yeah. I'm not going to get too hung up on that. I just need to touch that gold up a little bit. That's fine. Sometimes you go back, sometimes you go forward. This is where I said earlier on, should I do the gold first? And it's as broad as long, I think. Although I do find on like them raised surfaces there, it would probably be easier to do the gold first and then come underneath and do the brown and whatnot. Yeah, that's all cut in nicely around there. Am I off camera again there? Like I said, they don't have to be perfect. But if there's something glaringly, obviously, sticking its head above the parapet there, I'll sort it. And where I'm kind of cutting this back in here, not too worried if it ends up a bit darker next to the edges, because that black wash will do something similar as well. Right, I think if I'm going to be completely obsessive, off my mark again, holding it closer to me. That's tidy underneath, that's tidy there, there and there, there and there, and underneath. Yeah, I'm happy with that one. This is literally, God, I can't even see where I need to touch it up now. It's drying off a little bit. See, with those reactivation properties, it'll blend in. No, then, it is what it is, this, I think. You know, without getting too anal about it, you know, we're in the right shop. In the not too distant future, when I come to doing the actual figures themselves, I'm going to be wanting to match them to the playing cards, you see. So I might just need a couple of more ad hoc colours. I'll have to pick them up individually, maybe. I'll see. Let's see if I can manage what I've got. 'Cause I've got greens for the goblins and stuff like that. But we'll see how we get on. I'm very happy with that. And we've not put the wash on yet. And I need to just give that a flick of gold there. Right, let's see what happens when we put a couple of spots of this. Oh, that does look dark. Let me just try a bit of that. Oh yes. Oh hey. We could be good here. Let's have a look at this, how it goes on. Oh wow. Slaughter red. You know, that's quite on point for what I wanted, really. You probably can't see that, but I'm just trying to hold it to the best angle for me, really, so I can cut it in nicely. Oh yeah, I'm very happy with that. Look at that. Of course, it's drying yet, so it just looks a bit patchy at the moment. If I wanted to dull that down a bit, I can put a wash on that. I'll put the black wash on that as well, just to dull it down a little bit more so it doesn't look new. And also, if I really wanted to, I could have put like 2 drops water, 2 drops red and 1 drop black into that. It's drying darker than what I thought, that actually. Very, very, very nice. That really does. I think it looks a bit lighter on the camera with the light on it, but what I'm seeing here is Really nice. And again, I'm excited about the matte varnish. The matte varnish I'm just going to put another drop of this in there, just to keep it from getting too dry. So the matte varnish, like I say, it really brought the other stuff to life, the treasure chests. I don't know what it did. I know the reason for the matte varnish is to seal in the paint. So then when you're handling the bits and pieces, you're not actually rubbing the paint off, you know, when you're playing the game. Now, forgive me again if this goes slightly out of shot. It's just while I'm on the edges here, because I don't want to have to be touching up too much. Oh, this is going on really nice. Oh, wow. Now, what I've got to do here now is restrain myself from getting too involved and let this speed paint do its own thing. I've got the back to do as well, but we'll get on with the cushion now. I've just got to, right, I'll wait until that, hang on a minute. There we go. Just that line's a bit better there. So yeah, I might just put a wash over these reds just to... Oh, I've got a bit that I've missed there as well, a brown bit. You see? I've done the underside, but I've not done... Oh, where are we here? I've not done that bit there. So I'll get into that later on and just tidy that up. This is nice to be using one of these colours for the first time, because I've just been using the brown and the gold for the moment, and the wash and the varnish. Let me just get in there with the cushion. Sorry if we're off shot at the moment. Tough while I'm concentrating. I've just got in there, you see, and just got a little bit of red on there. Then I just caught it while I was talking. So that's no big deal. I can just, when I'm doing that little bit of brown under there, I can get involved. See, and I don't actually, that's another point there. Now, I don't need to be, still want to be careful, but not too careful. Not too worried, I should say, about catching the underneath. See what I mean? There's brown there, but there's a little bit of red there. That's fine. And as like I say, it's the brown bit there that I caught on there, I'm going to have to be extra careful in the future, but it's come through a little bit. But like I said, the varnish will get involved in certain parts of this as well, and tidy bits up. overall, I'm bloody pleased with that. That's just, there you go, highlight it a little bit more. I'm bloody pleased with that. So the red bit now that I need to do is the back. So I'll put one more spot of Slaughter Red in there, or the smallest drop I can get. There you go, because I don't need a load. And the paints are relatively well, I don't say inexpensive, but if you're getting the individual ones, they're not badly priced. But the sets, I think the set I got for Christmas was around about £70 off Amazon. I can't remember. My wife had picked it up for me. She's quite amazed by how the treasure chest turns out. She said she's no doubting my ability, but when you see these things in person and how they turn out, it's really good. I didn't want to do it and think, oh my God, what have I done? I've messed it up. I didn't want to be feeling like that and then be put off doing any more and ultimately be put off playing the game. But what's happened here is it's just, yeah, I can't believe how good that is. Very, very, very happy. Right, so all I need to do now is touch up under there with the brown where I've missed it. I've missed a bit in there as well. That's just a pass through of the brush gently, just a bit on the edge there. No problem that. I'm very happy with that, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. We've not done yet. We've got a bit to do. So, like I said, we'll do that brown first. I'll just do that off camera. Then I'll apply a wash to these three items here while this is drying off, and then we'll see how we get on. I will be right back. So that chair has dried really nice. Oh, it's drying really nice. It's 99% dry. What I might just do is, it's dried very dark as well. You know, it's quite light on the palette, the white palette, but it's dried really how I wanted it to dry. What I might do is, just for experimentation purposes, is just put a black wash on these arms, you know, where someone could have potentially been sat with the sweaty arms on the armrests and discolouring those and making them look a bit more patchy. But first what I'll do is, I'll just get this black wash ready for applying to the gold on these and the edges. But yeah, I think I'm happy with how they're turning out. It's like, again, you've got that kind of discoloration there around the edges and stuff like that, but it's something that's been in a dungeon or a room in an old dark, dank manor for a prolonged period of time. So we don't want it looking like it's just walked out of IKEA. So TT Combat black wash here. So this is for the gold bits. So what we do is now we kind of get a little bit slap happy with this and just basically go over it, and don't worry about running around the edges or anything like that, or fudging it in any way, shape or form, because what this will do is this will go off into the recesses and pool and dry. And what it'll do is it'll bring that gold down a little bit. It's like if you, from what I've seen on some of the other channels and some of the tips I've picked up, I think it's I can't remember the full name of the channel. It's Sounds like he's from down south, this fella. I think he's called the Miniature Hobbyist or something like that. You know, one tip I picked up from him and watching his channel was you want to be doing this on anything that's metallic, basically, or weapons, to kind of dull them down a little bit so they don't look brand new. They look like they've been rinsed a few times in combat. Oh, that a little bit there, just spread the love a little bit on that top table, just kind of even it out a little bit. And again, you know, you develop your own little techniques, but what I've got here is like a bit of a kit bashed approach from a few different channels where I thought, oh, that'll work, and that I like that, and I like that, but you know, I'm not into all this layering stuff just yet. That's a bit beyond me, but I can see how it can be done effectively. Run that wash along here a little bit. Ah, okay. Soon gone through the wash there because we're excitably spreading the love here a little bit. Let me get a little bit more out there. So I'm not putting the wash on everything, just the metallic items for the moment. Right, that's the tables done. We'll let them cure while we do just the metal bits on this here now. So do I lie that down, make it easy for myself. Just let it do its thing and pool off into the recesses. There you go. Simple as that. And of course the chair. So I'll do the this. Just adds a bit of contrast to it. Now I saw the same effect with the treasure chests, where with this being textured as opposed to the smooth bits of the table, this will pool into the recesses and just add a bit of contrast, a little bit of depth. So you can see that gold there now. If I bring that up to the camera, that gold there now, it looks nice and bright. And then if we put this in here now, dab it on there and a bit on there and all over the top. Now when that dries, it'll be darker, not pitch black like that, it'll be darker in those recesses, so it adds that contrast and detail. So I'm just gonna, like I say, I'm just gonna experiment here. Let's put a little bit on these arms here and see what happens. That's right. You've just got to let it do its thing. Might not make a massive difference. Go up to the fronts there as well, because they would have had mucky hands on them. And we'll be back in a few minutes when they've dried, and then we'll put the matte varnish on. Yeah, so things are drying off quite nice there. As I decided to just wash this brush off. What I did was I applied the black wash to the chair as a whole, well, the red, and what it's done is it's highlighted the pattern at the back and the cushion, which is nice. So we'll see how it dries when it's dried completely, and then we'll apply that matte varnish. Right, these items have dried now, so I've just put the matte varnish onto these two tables. You can see that wash has really made that gold look quite dirty now and rustic. So that's the matte varnish that's gone on there. I just need to do the underside of those tables. So I'm just going to do these two items now. That's dried really nice. with that wash on it. It's made it look quite dirty and dusty, which is exactly what I wanted. This is looking good as well. Just might need to dry a little bit more in there, so I'll leave that for the minute, and we'll do the chair next. So this now kind of finishes it off and seals everything in. And it just, I don't know, it just seems to, I don't know if it's because it's quite glossy when it first goes on, but it seems to just make things pop a little bit as well. And then it dries really nice. If them chests are anything to go by that I did. But yeah, its function is to stop things rubbing off when you're handling them and chipping. So I'm probably going to have to do the top half of this first, just for the sake of handling it. But yeah, pretty much like the wash. Can you see how it's kind of glossing it all up at the minute? But a bit like the wash, it'll dry, but not leave anything else behind this. No shiny finish or anything like that. Be a matte finish. But I just thought it made the treasure chests look quite alive when I'd done them. Like I say, I'm just getting used to this because you don't need to apply a great amount of this. Just keep spreading it around kind of thing. But I'll let this dry before I do the feet. So then I'm not taking it off again straight away. Do this back bit. It looks bloody brilliant. Spread that around a bit down there where it's gathered a bit. It's like a white cream mess. It doesn't dry sticky or anything like that. It has a feel to it, like just a rough feel to it. It's fine. Right, let's put that there. When you're doing this stuff in the wash as well, you've got to bloody remember where you're up to. Otherwise, if you leave a bit drying, so then you can handle it in a little bit, you forget what you've done and what you've not done sometimes. But yeah, that wood now Looks amazing. Really good job again, I'm very happy. And I'm convinced it's just how the paints work rather than there being any element of skill involved. You know, the speed paints are designed to make things a bit easier. So you could just play the game with the figures as they are, and that's fine. But I was just saying to the wife that when you're playing it with these all painted up eventually, it'll just be completely like a new level of immersion to the game. And I know what's going to happen here is we're going to start playing the game. I'll have painted all these up eventually, and then I'm going to get into it, and I'll end up buying all the expansion packs as well with all the figures. And paint them up as well, because I do like this. Ordinarily I'd be on my PlayStation or my Switch at the moment, or maybe on Flight Simulator on the Xbox, but on a Saturday afternoon. But I'm enjoying doing this. That's drying nice. So now I can do them doors actually. And keep hold of this at the bottom, at the sides, and then I can flip it over and do the bottom and the two sides later on. No, it doesn't take too long to dry this. We'll just get them little pools of white there. I just keep antagonising them with a brush. See, I can bring it out and move it around. Get all them hinges protected. See, I don't know if I'm being too generous with this or not, but like I say, the chests were alright. They didn't dry tacky, and if you drop one of these and it lands on its edge, I don't think it's going to necessarily lose any paint or anything. So we're pretty much done now. This is just the final bit of the varnish going on. So I've done the sides, done the front and the trim at the bottom. So I'll just let this unit dry off. Tables are dry. There's the mark. Keep forgetting where the mark is. exactly as I wanted them to look. All beat up and distressed. They've had water on them. Like I said, the detailing is incredible when you've done with the paints, and it brings out all the bits and bats of detail. So going back to one of the treasure chests I did, you know, really happy how they turned out as well. Really smart. Chair's just about drying off. So I've just done the legs. Yeah, it's just still a bit wet on the back there from the varnish. The back's dried off nicely. Leather cushion kind of effect. That gold at the top has got some nice detail on it. That wash has disappeared into the recesses. Same with the front as well. Brought it out, and some like little details at the front here as well that have come out really nice as well. That's drying off really nice now as well. So basically all done there. I'm quite happy with this. Just that matte varnish that just needs to cure a little bit. I'll leave them on the mat here for a while, and then I'll grab a picture to insert at the end of this video, hopefully. So there we go. It's just struggling for space and focus. There we go. Yeah, very happy. Okay, thanks for watching, and I might do a little bit more of this again in the future.